Thank you. That's official. I'd like to welcome you all, everyone that's here tonight, to the regular monthly meeting of the Planning Commission. And as a part of it, we will also be having a joint public hearing on a matter with the town's council. So they are here for that particular part. And if you want to speak in public comment, you're talking to both of us. If you want to speak at the public hearing, you're talking to both of us. So we'll be sharing in both bodies. And we don't need to hold two separate public comments, nor do we need to hold two separate public hearings on the same matter. So everybody signed up, wanted to sign up. See.
Yeah, there's no paper on it.
I grabbed it before you, it was like right around 6:30, right when I signed it.
You want to speak?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. There's just no paper for somebody that wanted to.
It was out on the table. Yeah.
I had seen it when I came in. Mr. Mayor, do you want to say anything and then we'll do roll call?
I certainly will call the town council to order. And we're just hearing to hear the two comments and then we'll adjourn and then continue.
Thank you. Bethany, would you do the roll call for the planning commission?
For planning commission, sure. Lisa Ball is here. Miss Wade is not here. Miss Dye is not here. Miss Newton's here.
Yes.
Yep, Mr. Williams is not here, and Mr. Snyder is here, and of course, Mr. Kuby.
So that's four of us.
Mhm.
And Mr. Williams, I spoke with him today. He will be here.
It's later. Okay.
It's here, Ms. Cuby's here, Mr. Hampstead's here, and Dr. Tovit. So
Yeah.
it's hard to hear more.
Okay. So with that, we'll go back onto this agenda. And we'd like for introductions by those that are new members. Nikki Dye, she accepted an appointment to the planning commission, but she'd already had, I guess it was vacation scheduled for this week. So she apologized for not being here. Said that she planned to attend regularly, but couldn't be here for this first meeting. The second person is Teresa Newton, right here. If you want to, since you got a new audience from the last time we met, you can tell the council about yourself.
Okay.
And the audience.
I'm Teresa Newton, originally from Georgia, lived in Alabama, and I served as councilwoman there in Alabama. And we moved up here, and this is our home now.
Well, welcome. Thank you for expressing your interest in the planning commission and being a member. Just FYI, if you want to know where she lives, it's the yellow Whitlock. It's
Remember mechanics.
right next to the center.
Yes. I was crazy.
Definitely.
Yep.
Sorry.
Right here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Jim?
I'm Jim Snyder. For those of you who don't know me, I've lived in Louisiana now for 41 years, where I'm still in Eugene. And mineral for long enough, my mortgage to almost finish off.
That's pretty amazing.
That's always a happy one.
And happy to be on the planning commission.
Jim, the planning commission, and he's back on the planning commission. Thank you very much. All right, so could we all stand for the pledge of allegiance? Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item is adopting or amending the agenda. Does anyone have anything that they want to bring up that's on the back? Good. The council can always be here tonight to, I think, to address the things related to the public hearing. So this is about amending the planning commission's agenda. Anything from the planning commission members? Hearing none, I would like to just make a point in, under the public hearing, item A, that this is as I asked for it to be done, but further reflection and reading it, that first item under A should say discussion and recommendation by the planning commission after the public hearing is closed. We don't take action. And the next one, B, would be action by the Mineral Town Council. On the second page of the item under new business, item 1, 2, 3, and then there's 3. It says amend meeting dates. That's amend the Mineral Planning Commission meeting dates. So we will address that. Number 4, I would like to add planning commissioner resignation. I have a resignation to provide to you from one of the members, and I will do that at that time. Is that good? I have a motion to adopt the agenda as revised or as amended. Jim gave us a motion to approve as amended. Do we have a second?
I will second.
Go ahead.
Lauren, thank you. All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That should reflect 5-0. Thank you very much. Okay, so it's public comment time. Do you have anybody to sign up for public?
I do, Miss McGee.
I thought I was gonna make a joke tonight, kings and queens. Multiple kings and queens. At the last planning commission meeting, I listened to it, watched it or whatever. And during the beginning of that so-called meeting, Ed, Mr. Curie made a phone call to Mr. Williams, Tony Williams, you're Tony Williams, right? And the public, and it was on the phone call was on the meeting, which was tacky. You should have gotten up, gone in a room and privately called him instead of doing it out in the open. That was very tacky.
I will respond to you.
You're not supposed to be responding.
I can, I'm sure.
All right, and you said you couldn't have a meeting because of no quorum, and then y'all had a 30-minute discussion. What's that? That's a meeting. So when you say you don't have a meeting, you go home instead of sitting there and discussing for 30 minutes, which made it a meeting. And then my last thing is, I think we have a conflict of interest with Mr. Curie being the chairman of the planning commission and his wife is on the council. So that's a very big conflict of interest. And something needs to be done. We can't have one family trying to run this town, and that's what's happening.
Thank you for 3 minutes. Becky, Ms. McGee. We don't normally comment. I'll call you because I think we don't normally comment, but I think in the case of your comments that you made, I feel it would be appropriate to clear it up. Of course, we're being transparent. We allow you to say the things that you want to say, and you're entitled to do that. They're not always factual, I will say. And for instance, when you say that I called Mr. Williams and that was tacky during the meeting, it's because we didn't have a quorum. So we needed to determine he was going to make the 4:30. Don't speak. You do not. You're out of order. You don't get to.
You can be out of order if you're out of order.
I am the chairman of this meeting. I'm giving you a warning right now. If you speak another time, I will ask for action taken against you because you will not participate professionally in our meetings. Warning given. So, yes, we didn't have a quorum. We were looking for a quorum. So I called Mr. Williams, and I told the other people that were here on the planning commission that I was going to do that. And lots of times, Mr. Williams may be late because he's coming from work, and that's happened frequently. So I did call him. He said he wasn't going to be here, so I let everyone know that he wasn't. As far as us holding a secret meeting, there's no secret meeting about that. It was advertised. Anybody who wanted to be at it was here. It was not a meeting. We expressed on it, and you look at the minutes that this was not a meeting. We were here in official capacity. And since the people were here and 2 members out of the 3 that we had, which was not enough for a quorum, but it has to have records related to it. Otherwise, it'll be questioned in the future why the town council didn't meet. So there will be minutes. It will be no motions taken. And it indicated the things that transpired, and all it was them introducing themselves and a general overview. Stated clearly beforehand, no motions and actions were going to be accepted or taken. So if you don't care for that, you have that opinion. If you want to try to take some action on it, you're welcome to do that. But that does happen because you never know if you're going to have a quorum or not when you get to a meeting. And secondly, as far as Mrs. Cubey and I having a conflict of interest, that has been presented to the town attorney in the past. And it was clearly said there is nothing in the law that says you can't. In fact, I'm told that husbands and wives can, if they get themselves elected, be on the same body, not just 2 separate bodies. So you're incorrect in what you're saying. And correct that for your awareness. Thank you very much. Anyone else care to say anything?
And I would say, I agree because we did talk to the attorney and she did convey to us on town council that you in fact could have a husband and wife
On the council.
on council.
And why was I told we couldn't
Well,
be family members on council? And I was told that my son, didn't run and he wanted to run. And so what is going on with that? Are we,
I don't know. I'm just telling
you
you,
told me you made that decision.
I talked to Catherine about that. Yeah.
You're there about it.
No,
And don't worry,
but
we won't do anything.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, yeah, but I was just recently given the information that a person wanted to run was not allowed to because 2 people who are related are not allowed to be on this council. And was I not told the truth?
I don't know. I wasn't there when that discussion
Shouldn't
was
have made that decision. I brought it to you, you can do that. We'll talk about it after, but I was, obviously something's going on.
Well, here's what I will say. As we have learned since we've come on, there's a lot of stuff that we have done in the past that lately we had citizens come up
It was 2 months.
and remind us.
This was
that-
2 months ago.
Okay, I didn't know what to tell you.
All right. It's not me. I just feel protective of him because I think that's not fair. If somebody wants to run and they're told, you can't run because 2 people related aren't allowing you, then it's an healthcare that in the past we've made it because we can vote.
Right.
I'm not saying you're going to be. I'm just saying clearly that rule is.
Well, the law is the law, and apparently sometimes people get different information. Doesn't make, can't say how or why because.
I agree, we should follow the law. And I was saying, where was it written that you couldn't have people, So, but that's what I was told, so, okay.
All right.
I'll follow that up after me. Okay.
Second person, yes.
Just quick.
Lately, I've been doing lots of research, one thing I hit in the state statutes about elections, it was talking about the rules get looser, the less people you have in your town or your city. And what it recognized in the statutes and the who holds what offices, that you should expect that there will be husbands and wives, brothers and sisters, whomever, serving on different commissions and boards in a small town. That's fine. it's normal, it's good, it's legal. The part where you were talking, I'm not really clear. We have to all go back and look. It did mention something about nepotism, about serving on the same council, two people. And my understanding of nepotism is we're related, right? But from a legal point of view, we have to look up exactly what does the law say here is nepotism and where you want to put it. So, that's something somebody's going to have to go look in the state law because it could go either way. But as far as people being on the same, expect them is what the law says, because there's not enough people where you're going to get out of 500 people, totally unrelated people. So we're fine. Bernice is fine and you're fine.
We're not saying they're not, I'm just saying, I think they,
I'm just saying,
they wrongly denied somebody an opportunity.
somebody,
So,
maybe, I wonder if somebody could, maybe somebody could ask Westy McGuire, his Commonwealth attorney. Maybe
Maybe
he
he was an after, yeah, it's not.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm not positive about that one.
thank you. Was there anyone else that cared to speak? All right, let's go ahead and close the public comment. And now we get to the public hearing, which is the joint part of why the town council and planning commission are gathered here tonight. I'd like to call on the zoning administrator to explain or present the matter with.
Okay, so we are looking at chapter 425. It's the zoning chapter, article 5, which consists of our general commercial district.
In here. Did you have that?
It's in the packet.
I know, because I don't have it in my.
It should be under section F.
Okay, thank you.
And so what we are, I miss,
Okay,
is number 11 and 12, retail businesses, and which includes retail stores, et cetera. All of these were listed in light commercial, and they definitely belong in general commercial. That's my mistake. And restaurants. The other one that we're adding is to this, I think should be under permitted uses by conditional use permit, and that's a community center. And the reason why I suggest it go under conditional use permit is because it is a community center, and I think we want to establish some conditions related to that. So right now, 3 changes is in adding retail business, that paragraph, adding restaurants, and then adding community center under B, permitted uses by conditional use permit. The next thing that I want to bring forward, which was not something that I originally talked about, but the side yard 20 feet. In looking back, we said as long there's a location here, as long as it mimics what's there, the buildings that are there, we match the way the layout is. But a 20-foot side yard in a general commercial district is really a whole lot.
Mhm.
So I think it needs to come down to probably 5 or 6 just to get enough walking space or something through there. So I'll let you guys talk about that and discuss it.
So you were saying that's 425/31 item A.
Yes,
You're suggesting instead of 20 feet, that would be
like 6 to 8.
So even when it abuts to a residential district, so if there's a house right next to
Oh,
general commercial property, because that's what it says here is where the district abuts to a residential district and or dwelling,
Mhm.
the minimum side yard shall be 20 feet. Otherwise, it's 5 feet on developed.
That's developed streets. It doesn't say anything if it's like commercial driven. So if it,
Right.
if the side yard is
It
the side
doesn't need a
commercial.
side yard unless it's next to homes.
So that's not how they were reading it. So this came up and that's not how it's being, so maybe we just need to word it differently because there was a question about why would we have 20 feet where commercial, with commercial is commercial,
Sure. Who was curious about it?
just questions.
Oh, okay.
Just a comment, if it is commercial, wouldn't we really need to provide access for fire department or whatever between buildings?
They can put.
Not between buildings. You need to be able to get to the front and the back. There's firewalls usually between buildings. And if they're really close, there's a whole building code that establishes that you have to have a firewall.
Can we just add another sentence that says when it doesn't come back to residential, then it's 5 feet or?
Yeah, I feel like this is really clear, but I'm not sure.
It's- we can leave it. It's fine with me. I just wanted to bring it to your attention and it's up to you.
Residential, I think that Bruce, whoever was reading it, because this is all commercial,
Yeah,
and all of a sudden residential's there.
yeah.
So we do have places where we have general and then the next.
Right, and then the next
Residential.
will knock over.
And
I mean, I guess that's the bigger question. In our zoning map, do all of our districts change at streets where it's a clear block, or does it change in the middle of the block?
No, it changed the street.
Streets, I
It's streets. It's not. It's definitely streets.
Okay, on the back too, like it's not, I'm thinking about where the railroad tracks are. I know there's an area there where I feel like there might.
So the railroad track has a 50 to 100 foot buffer on each side. So even if this is general commercial and on the other side of that, it's something else.
There's a
a
separation.
huge thing.
we have like Latin next to Bobby Carpenter, even though his may not be residential property,
It's a dwelling,
residence.
right? It's a dwelling. It says dwelling on here.
It's a dwelling, so it does have to be.
Well, the zoning doesn't, but the
zoning
dwelling does.
Right.
The dwelling.
But you can have a dwelling in a general commercial zone. And so the
Yeah.
question is, if people choose to purchase and live inside of a general commercial zoning, do we want to accommodate that with a 20-foot side yard, or do we want to take it away?
Ready to. Anyway.
Right.
So what if we just took a minimum area shall be 20 feet, unless it abuts another general commercial, and then it shall be 6 feet or 8 feet or whatever.
So may I suggest, at this point, we're just receiving the pre-public hearing discussion of what we're here for. And we're going to have an opportunity after the public hearing is closed to debate and come up with the right answers for it.
Oh, my
But,
apologies.
no, I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, and it's okay to ask questions, but we don't need to figure it out and work it out. This is what we will before it's over. So it's not me to cut anybody else off, or was there anything else, just Washington?
I had a question about where you were adding, the other thing, the.
Retail and restaurants, community center,
Restaurants, cafes,
community center.
the community center, where did that come in?
It's gonna come in under B, permitted uses by conditional use permit. And it's gonna be added there as number 3, community center.
I wondered, since so much of, I wondered why it wouldn't be an under 11. Because so much of it's allowed there is commercial for community to gather. If you're gonna allow bowling alleys and theaters.
Yep, but community center itself usually focuses around just what I'm seeing is, you have kind of like a rec center where you have youth and you have family and you have different things. So this would allow the town to be able to put conditions around it so that there's a protection, possibly safety just for little kids. And it's not just slapped in the middle of a district where there's a bunch of commercial, whether it be bowling alley, whether it be bars, restaurants, or what have you. It would allow to help keep it safe and a little more family oriented.
That makes sense.
Well, it's not retail anymore.
Mhm.
Okay.
Is this public comment?
No, not, we haven't called on that yet. So, question, I was still looking for the place in here when you were giving the initial things. So highlight briefly, quickly, what are the 1, 2, and 3? I wrote down the third thing you said was this discussion of the side yard. You gave 1 and 2 before that. What were they?
So under, permitted uses, it would be 11 and 12, and they are retail businesses, which includes retail stores. There's a whole paragraph,
Yeah.
that, and then 12 is restaurant.
In 11, it says that they're bold, such as bakeries. Is that what's added there?
No, this whole section was added because it wasn't in. I am going to take full responsibility of this with all the 800.
Number 11.
zoning districts that we did.
are the two
Yes.
things. Potentially.
Yes,
That-
they were in light commercial, they were missed in general commercial because we took some stuff out and that happened to be some of it. in
I
particular.
knew I recalled it. It's Karen.
Yeah,
That's what all of 11 was left at.
yes,
Anything else? Is that it?
that's it.
The question about the side yard.
Yes.
And then 3 under permitted uses, community center.
Conditional use permit, yes.
Everybody clear on that? That's on council or the planning commission? All right. I'm going to suggest that we go ahead and proceed and have the public hearing pertaining to this action that the planning commission first and then the council will be discussing. So let's open the public hearing. Who signed up to speak at that?
Nobody.
Does anyone out there care to? Would you like to? So that means you're satisfied with it. All right, seeing that there's no one here to speak, close the public hearing. And I got my answers as to what we are addressing. Is everyone else clear on what's being brought forward? The planning commission and the council has already acted upon everything else here pertaining to this general commercial. It's the 11 and 12 that was left out that we're now addressing. We're also adding community center as item 3 under permitted uses with a conditional use permit. And then the side yard was brought up as a question, can you bordering commercial with residential, which says it's 20 feet.
But you're also forgetting it says or a dwelling.
So my suggestion is let's deal with that one, which seems to have, comments and discussions about how to best write that up, and maybe some more words need to be put in there to make it clear. Anybody want to take that on? I know that Mr. Jarvis, you were talking about it.
Well, I was just trying to better define it. And so I was suggesting that after the 20 feet, comma, unless it abuts another general commercial, then the minimum side yard will be either 6 or 8 feet. Depending what planning commission wants, we can make this way.
I wonder if we can put in there, comma, or conform to existing.
So that's in B,
What's that?
conforming to.
So we can, the setbacks, so the side yards, would we allow, so like, for example, if somebody wanted to build in between this blue building and that little horseshoe building, so those used to be butted right up against each other.
Exactly.
Are we eliminating that ability so that?
That's why I brought this up.
Okay, so that's what I say, if we conform with existing architecture, existing structures along here, they could do the firewall and butt to butt.
So what do you want to do on the areas that are not developed currently and there will be general commercial buildings, do you want those to have 20 feet? That means less businesses and big side yards for businesses. So I mean,
Are we
yeah.
talking about existing as well? You just talking about the new?
So existing would be what Ron was just saying, with existing structures, it would conform to whatever the existing look and feel is right there. Keeping the residential piece. But with the new construction, that's open space, there's nothing there. What do you want those to look like? Do you want them to have a 20-foot setback on the sides? Do they need to have that? Are we worried about them? Because 9 times out of 10, a building is not going to take up, it's going to take up the whole block and it's going to have parking. The side yards are the issues. Parking is usually in the front or the back. Loading is in the back. Some loading's on the side. It depends on how big the lot is. So we're coming up to, what do we want the commercial setbacks, or do you want that to be addressed at the site plan stage?
I think that we have the dwellings are not listed, what I can tell, for general commercial. So we're trying to legislate for something that's not going to
So
happen.
currently we have existing structures that are dwellings in general commercial.
Right.
Yeah, Bobby Carpenter's house, he's built
Yeah.
some, there's a lot of.
Right. And so we need to just accommodate for those that are there in case in the future, something gets demolished and something else is built beside a dwelling that's in general commercial. So we have to think past that and say, if something got demoed and there's a residential house right there because it was allowed to be built in general commercial, what are we going to say their setbacks have to be at that time? You follow me?
I'm still.
So we have residential,
General commercial to residential.
right, but there are currently,
Considered grandfathered.
yes, and we have to protect those homes.
In the case of this, I think you say, in the case of grandfathered residential,
Thing about grandfathered is it doesn't really exist.
okay,
It does not exist anymore. So you have to say, you have to be very specific, and you can't say grandfathered because grandfathered leaves open what is considered grandfathered. So the state doesn't really look at that.
okay, so what I'm saying.
We use existing buildings.
This is residential district, or regular dwelling, I don't.
I think and/or is a little redundant. It should be abuts to a residential district or dwelling. Actually,
Nothing abuts to a residential district except across the street.
accept the street. So maybe removing,
I got my map.
right, abuts to instead of residential district, just say residential dwelling.
Louisa Avenue has general commercial.
Stop doing that. Louisa Avenue. I want a big map up on the wall,
Yes, I agree.
like we used to do.
Well,
I'm gonna go with what you say, but I'm looking here at Louisa Avenue
It's gonna be a little.
and
Yeah.
everything is across the street.
Right, it's not necessary to say that if it abuts to a residential district, because no business is gonna be
Town website.
on a district.
Oh, no, there he is.
It needs to be if it abuts to a residential dwelling.
So you don't want
You're right, there's all cross streets there. There's not mid-block zoning changes.
this,
Right.
Right.
they're all the way across the street.
Okay,
you want to use the residential.
maybe. So here's the idea of planning out your stuff. If you,
I have to go through my glasses work.
let's say,
Take mine, for instance.
Is it?
Right here. You're in pink.
Yeah.
So that's general,
Light commercial.
light commercial.
This is just, so it's.
Pink is light, gold is,
Residential. Right, this is about the general.
okay, so I'm keeping, yeah, all right.
That.
So here, this right here. So see Louisa Avenue?
So one side of Louisa Ave is general, the other side is residential, is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah, that's where the fire station is, you know, that
Yeah.
little section where the fire station and the doctor's offices are, and then across Louisa Avenue are homes and the water tower.
And so there is a road, but this is what you have to, you want to be careful because it could be that 10 years from now, and maybe we don't care about 10 years from now, but what if someone comes in, what if a new council decides they want to change something about the district, they want to rearrange district zoning, whatever that may be, that we're not going to be able to control that. But if we have residential housing on there, if they're moving a piece, if someone wants a split zone, which we don't allow, but if someone wants a split zone, you're gonna have districts in the area that someone may want to rezone a district. They may want to go in and over in Louisa Avenue in residential, they want to rezone it to commercial because it's across the street from general commercial. If they rezone that, and it's not on a road and it's side by side, how is it going to affect that house? In your site plan development, you would establish a buffer for that property. But maybe they decide that they don't care about the buffer. The council that's here says, oh, that's fine. That's fine. We don't need a 50-foot buffer. And now your residential house, you want to put things in place so people can look and think and understand, because this can happen. Someone can come in, someone can buy up lots and they can say, I would like to rezone. Rezonings have to come to the planning commission and they have to come to the council. Council approves it. We still have to protect what's there. There's going to be a buffer. We're going to put that in, but you just have to think about those things. Just because these are your zoning districts doesn't mean they'll always be your zoning districts. Someone could ask for a rezoning. A new council can establish that.
So this language is not to solve any problem that currently exists.
Well, I mean, we have a house somewhere in general commercial. I don't know exactly where it
There's
is.
plenty of houses.
But there's houses in general commercial and they're currently there. And just because they're there doesn't mean that they wouldn't be affected later. So the language is to kind of put it there and to protect them. And so that later on, they're not forgotten about. New council can change that language, but they probably wouldn't if it's in their face to say protecting the general, the residential houses.
Can you step in?
Yes.
So my understanding from what I'm hearing is in the general commercial, there's not a side regulation between multiple commercial properties, right?
No.
But we're concerned about where it runs into.
Residential.
Into.
We want to make sure that we keep the residential, but we don't want to give the ability and the thought that there's a question for general commercial. We don't want someone to come back and argue for those buildings.
So no change is made. The 20 feet is already in there.
Mhm.
Where district abuts to residential general and or dwelling is what it currently says.
Yeah.
The minimum side yard shall be 20 feet. You suggested maybe that should be reduced some, but it still needs to have something pertaining to that potential event to occur. So I would direct our attention to come to a consensus on that. Do we want to leave it at the 20 feet that's there, or do you want to reduce it to something less?
Mr. Charles said a good idea that it should be 6 to 8 feet unless it abuts. If it abuts another commercial property.
Come up with a number.
He did.
I'd say for 8 feet.
Unless it abuts.
When it abuts another commercial property, it should be.
Happy to split, say 7.
The other thing I want to point out, letter C, frontage shall be no less than 25 feet. I thought we had amended that.
They can, it's their variance, it's as
Huh?
if they need it.
Number C, under frontage and yard regulations, I thought we had amended that. Where it was frontage shall be no less than 25 feet.
Yeah,
This way.
Or conforms to existing
And
structures
that's
like
like width.
Mineral Avenue.
that is your frontage.
Yeah, that's how wide.
Yeah, it's how wide.
But some of them might be skinnier, is what you're saying.
I don't think they are.
All of our lots are 25 feet.
All of them are 25
That's awfully.
or 27.
Okay. Okay. That's
But we can put the conform.
just because I thought we had added that in last time. I could be.
You never know something tonight. That way somebody could have a split store, like a living in a ice cream store, and have a, you know, whatever, candy store or whatever, you know, they have some tiny stores and some places.
Okay.
Well, I would suggest or say that what you advertised and what we act upon is far more defensible if we are reducing something versus adding. If you're saying you want to go from 25 to 50, it probably ought to be clearly stated that you're considering that before you do it, or someone may challenge you.
No, it's 25. He's just saying or
I know.
conform to the,
I think that you can keep it as it is, or you could probably reduce it, but you're increasing the restriction.
By saying, yeah, he's just wanting to add that it
I'm not.
conforms to what is already there.
So not.
He's saying it.
Well, that is what we already have.
we do.
We just, why is it there?
We do have 25 feet. What,
It wasn't changed.
that wasn't changed. What the question is that didn't we have or conforms to existing structures? So it maps out the same layout.
Yeah, like what if it's.
And nothing is,
Falls down and it's 24 and a half feet, you can't build there. Okay?
There was discussion, as you said, about different buildings are at different setbacks currently.
Which almost that back is.
it's the road frontage, it's the width.
If they wanted to, somebody wanted to build, I'm going to use the same example, between the blue building here and the building next to it, if there's only 24 feet.
Yeah.
They won't be able to build.
They can't build there. So, and I don't know, there might be 25 feet, but that's why I thought had discussed putting in there or conform to existing.
And we put it in B, and so maybe we can just put it in,
It was supposed to be in both of them. I think this is.
so that we'll just add it in. Perfect.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
C, buildings must conform to existing structures in B. Is that what you would like to carry down in C as well?
Yeah, that way it kind of all. And, you know, somebody wants to build right here in Middle Ave. They have a little bit more fluidity on what they can do as long as they're staying within already here.
Please, but there might be somewhere lot, it's just a hair short, you know, what I mean, it was gonna say, and our lot, or it's short here and it's okay up here, you know, the top of the lot, it just, you never.
So I also need to point out though, just because we say that it conforms, it still has to follow regulation. Like it can't go, if VDOT views it as an obstruction for their, you know, the site of the road or whatever, we can't do that. So just so you guys are aware, still has to, it'll conform to it, but it has to follow the regulation. I know that was a question that was brought up in office.
So do we have to?
Consensus around the table to add that statement building conform to the existing structures to C like it's in B.
Really, it comes down.
That's a state regulatory, they have,
Whatever. You found reasons for it, don't need to the same.
Yeah, this.
It really wouldn't affect anything unless somebody feel the change.
This one.
they could request a variance.
Okay.
They could request a variance.
If we leave it the same, we can all live with it. Until somebody comes up and says, you know what, I'm making access road there. And then we have to put it before council and make it public. And
We did have this,
Yeah.
And the chances of that happening,
So
but they didn't.
probably something.
No, but this is about, the structures themselves and developing
There's so many more than that. They got
yeah,
the minimum 4 hour.
yeah,
There's so many other things that come into this.
yeah.
20 feet, 5 feet, 7 feet, whatever.
So it seems I started the whole kerfuffle.
Yes, you did. You already.
Did not tell her, you're believe me. All I'm gonna say is, I like everything here. It bugs me that we're in the district abuts a residential district because it doesn't exist. That, and so that's like moot. It's,
But it could exist. Someone could come and rezone part of the general commercial district to a residential district. And then you want to make sure that if they do that, that they put up those setbacks for that district.
I don't care. It's fine.
One clarification. Have we, with this that we're discussing now, is that going to encompass all the things that we were here to act upon tonight?
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Mayor, since we're both doing this, I'm gonna suggest that I'd entertain a motion. Actually, yeah, let's. We should be doing this first, right? So planning commission, I would entertain a motion. Let's go some step-by-step process. I'd entertain a motion related to items 11, 12, and B3. As hearing very little discussion about that. In 11, you're adding that whole paragraph that's stated before you. In 12, you're adding restaurants and cafes as items that are permitted uses. And then number 3 under B, with a conditional use permit, you can have a community center. Didn't hear a lot of debate over that. Would someone entertain making a motion on the planning commission to recommend this matter to the town council?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion to do so by Mr. Snyder. Your second?
Yeah.
Second by Ms. Newton. Any further discussion? I call for a vote on that. All in favor of that recommendation to the planning commission for those items, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, so we have that much taken care of. Now, I would talk about what I heard was discussion in 42531 on frontage and yard regulations, specifically item A. I'll try to get this right. Where the district abuts to a residential district and or dwelling, the minimum side yard shall be 7 feet, unless it borders with commercial property.
No, it was supposed to be 20 feet and then 7 feet if it abuts against another commercial property.
That's correct.
Oh,
Thank you. Planning commission.
It's following on council with them.
wait, I think I'm confused and need clarification.
Yeah.
When we're talking about the side yard. A general commercial building does not need a side yard unless it abuts a residential district or dwelling, correct? Or is there?
No. The side yard is where the district abuts to a residential district and or dwelling. The minimum side yard shall be 20
20
feet.
feet is what's currently there.
Right. 7 feet when it butts to another general commercial building without residential. Do you understand? So we wanted,
That wasn't in here at all.
no, we were just talking. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Right.
No, I'm mulling it over.
So why do you fix that instead of some spot?
In between.
What's the difference?
Yeah, zoning administrator said 6 to 8 would be advisable.
But were you suggesting, I may have misunderstood this assignment entirely. Were you suggesting that we change the minimum side yard where it abuts to a residential district or dwelling from 20 to 7, or add in language that says when you're up against another general.
So I wasn't clear. What I was,
District, just what you're talking about, abutting to the residential. So why not just add general commercial?
that's what this district, that's the district we're in. And so we're adding that it's only 20 feet when it abuts to a residential district or a residential dwelling.
That's what it says though. That's what's there.
Well, it says district.
And then adding,
And then adding to clarify that if it is within the same district and it's commercial, that it's 7 feet. There is no side yard right now, which means that your walls can be very close. And if you want, that's fine, but we're, so do we want that? I want them to be right up on each other. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. But you're gonna have poison ivy growing up between them. I have that right now. We're dealing with it.
When we think about like Main Street, small town, all of the charming places we like to go and would love for Mineral to look like, those buildings do abut one another, or they're very close.
They're
to each other,
attached.
or they're attached.
They're definitely attached.
Some aren't. Sometimes there's a very narrow alleyway
Very
in
narrow.
between where you would store your garbage cans, and that's about it.
Hence the
Is that a
7
lot we
feet.
want to, but I see the importance of a nice side yard when we're abutting a residential dwelling or a residential district. I think that that is important. We want to protect, right, our residents, but I'm not sure I see the value, I guess, in having 7 feet between.
Well, it's not Main or Mineral Avenue. I don't think we should have any.
Well, that's to conform. So Mineral Avenue will conform to itself.
So what's this?
This is,
That's on setbacks, but we don't have that on the side yard.
that's what it.
So we should have it on all three. We should have the Mineral Avenue thing on all three of them.
what are you going to do when you have new construction? When you have someone comes in with a new site plan? The zoning administrator has to look at the site plan and say, this works. VDOT's got to look at it and say to the zoning administrator, you don't have enough space right here. So is that going to be a determination at that point? If the side yard doesn't abut to another building, but abuts to another property line, the property line is another general district, commercial district, this is what my job will entail, is me looking at a site plan going, there's no setback, therefore you can just slam right up against each other, industrial, working, gas pump station, hazardous material over here. And so now there's no setbacks at all. There's nothing blocking them. Hopefully we'll put barriers. I'm just giving you examples of some of the stuff that we're dealing with. And so we have to be very cautious what we're doing. Do we want them to have setbacks and to?
Planning, if you remember, well, you see, something that we belong. Planning commission. Like for us to come to a consensus and then we can pass the ball to the town council and they can decide to agree or to go with another direction. But in order to expedite it, somebody with the planning commission like to make this motion. I need to talk a little bit before we make a motion. Yeah. Fine.
That's what we want right back.
I mean, property owners, having someone come in and commercial, I mean, I want some distance, honestly, you know what I mean? If it abuts to me.
Right, if my residence is absolutely 100%.
Yeah, and so, I mean, yeah, of course, you know, right, but if it's another business, maximizing space, right together.
Between the overall look, unless we are going for a suburban look where there are those big side yards and you have big.
It's space.
But if we're going for a small town, I mean, typically those are. I think I would be on that.
Yeah.
So, or, you know, like living places in between the bit, you could have a townhouse and a haircut arena, you know, so if we do this, you can't put. That's which way it is. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, It's, I don't know. Do you have someone here?
Question for you, Ms. Washington. A new house comes in and the business doesn't have a 20-foot side yard. Does that affect the business? Or is the new house just stuck with what's there?
New house is stuck with what's there. It's a non-conforming structure on the other property. The new house will probably need to do the setback.
Okay, that takes care of my question. Then this code makes your life easier in trying to do your job? And it makes sense? And you've had to put up with us not understanding it. I move that we accept these changes.
Which changes? Like as is, as written?
As we've written it with the amendment of or 7 feet.
Can I ask some?
Side yard with the butts to a residential dwelling, the minimum side yard shall be 20 feet or 7 foot when abutting general commercial district.
Can I ask one more question?
No, second, first.
Oh, he just made a motion.
That's all.
Did I say that right?
I won't trust that you did. Let's get a second. And then we'll see what we've got. Do we hear a second to the motion?
Sorry, I have questions.
I'm gonna give you an opportunity.
And then.
We can- yeah.
Then you ask a question.
Yeah.
And then we met, okay, sure, I'll second it.
All right, so we got a motion second. Let's discuss it if you want.
Well, Ms. Washington, I had a question for you. Again, I fear maybe we all misunderstood you or I severely misunderstood.
No, it's
Was
not.
your suggestion to change the number 20 down to 7? It was to add 7 feet when it butts against. Okay, I did completely misunderstand.
Figure out how we want to handle that. How do we want to handle when it's not residential and we have someone that rezones residential, right?
Right.
Rezone, but the general is there, the general comes in,
Sure.
or the rezoning general, how do we want to handle that? I feel like the business needs to have an understanding that if there's residential district, there'll always be 20, but if the business comes in, and I see what you're saying, and if the business comes in, do we want to give them space between them? Do you want to have them side by side? Do you want there to be no side setback for general districts? The only thing that I'm saying is there are problems currently with that. And that's okay. It would then just be a matter of the site plan having to be configured and constructed by the engineer to maximize the property correctly. But currently there are buildings down Mineral Avenue that they can't use their loading in the back because their side yards, it's just all the property lines are meshing together and everybody's not respecting properties. Buildings are right up against the property lines. And so that's the problem in question. Do we want these side yards? It's up to you.
And my assumption is that most of that is caused by building that was done before zoning came into place.
Sure. I mean, 7 feet's not that much. It's really like, it's like 1.5 feet.
No, it's not. It's literally doesn't matter. It's just, I want to bring.
Mineral Avenue, that's why. Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't really affect Mineral Avenue. It would only affect Louisa. It's not going to affect Mineral.
Oh, you're right, because it's 7 feet on each side.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I thought.
So can we restate what this motion is that we've now come to the point of having the motion second on?
So does it make,
Don't ask me to.
I understand now.
maybe it doesn't make sense to do that.
I understand.
Maybe it makes sense to leave it no side yard for commercial when it butts commercial. And that's fine with me, but we have to take this into consideration.
Just as to what we're trying to create here in Mineral, the town of Mineral, the whole area. Do we want businesses that need all that space for side yards? I mean, you know, what do?
Are you talking about keeping business, just business on Mineral Avenue?
No, not.
This really isn't Mineral Avenue, though. This is more about like Louisa Avenue that's not developed.
First, where.
Yeah. And
I would want some kind of buffer if, the general planning or general commercial.
a buffer for residential or the dwellings, but we're talking about if,
No, I don't think anybody wants to take that off the table.
no,
We're
no.
in total agreement there.
But if it's,
So you could get,
so there it is right here, the gold. If you, do you want where there's no residential houses? Do you want them side by side?
Well, the building.
Well, yeah, they'll have firewalls. So the understanding is that we would leave it to where there's no side yard, and that's the way it would read.
they could choose.
They can choose one. Okay.
An alley.
No,
And rooms have their own set.
roads have their own.
Am I hearing this group going towards leaving it the way that it is, where the district abuts the residential district and work well in common?
I wish I would have never wrong.
Is that what I'm hearing?
I should have never.
It was a scenic drive.
Mr. Snyder, would you like to withdraw your motion to revise?
Whatever you said.
There's all gonna be circumstances where we need it, and there's gonna be some that when we don't, and we can't, there's nowhere to put the, like an opinion of somebody's.
I will withdraw my motion
Okay,
if you have a better one.
let's just go with you withdrew the motion and you're withdrawing the second, right? And then we'll move on. And I'll bring up another item in this paragraph that we need to clarify. Am I hearing, okay? All right. So, not dealing with the side yard and the setback, there was discussion on C, frontage shall be no less than 25 feet, comma, building must conform to existing structures to make that follow the same logic as the one before it, B. So I'd entertain discussion on that from planning commission. That,
I like that. I think maybe A, B, and C should say that on Mineral Avenue, building must conform to existing structures.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not on A if we're not adding a side yard on general to general.
zoning administrator, what would you say pertaining to that? That it be in A, B, and C.
I don't think it would matter, but I think we can add it just for.
Consistency.
Mhm.
Anybody else want to discuss? Or if we're headed in that direction and entertaining a motion to starting with C and then go back and make sure that A, B, and C have the same wording at the end, building must conform to existing structures.
Yep, I move we approve as is with with A, B, and C adding, A and C adding the language about minimum buildings conforming to existing structures.
Got it.
Are you saying all buildings level? Did I hear you?
Yeah, that's what it says on B. Yeah.
There you go. Okay. Does that apply for all A, B, and C?
Yes.
Okay, so you want that. Do I have a second to the motion?
Thanks.
It's not. Planning Commission, we are going to be voting on a motion that makes A, B, and C very consistent with the building must conform to existing structures at the end, and that we're dealing with Mineral Avenue and everything else remains the same. Understand the motion is the same. Okay, everybody in on that? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of the amendments to 42531 A, B, and C? Say aye. Both, I have a question first before.
So on Mineral Avenue, you're saying, this here conforming to the existing, must conform to existing structures. So, I mean, to put townhomes up on Avenue, I mean, what would that, I mean, it's not, there's nothing like that structure there now existing. I am thinking about it.
But that's not general commercial.
It's not general commercial, but, you know, getting out a couple of townhomes.
Townhomes are conditional use permit.
Okay. There you go. All right, so, okay, I'm ready.
I will call for the vote. All those in favor of the changes on A, B, and C and 425-31, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Sounds like 5-0.
Yes.
Does that take care of everything that the planning commission needs to do regarding this? All right. Motion for our part of the planning commission to be closed. And make this recommendation to the town council.
I move we close public hearing and give it to town council.
Second. All right, second by Mr. Williams. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? 5-0. Okay.
They walk around the building all day.
Thank you, Planning Commission. It's a rarity. We get to see how the minds work. So, town council members, hearing the discussion, obviously there are two motions that came from the Planning Commission. One of them had to do with paragraph 425-30, inserting what is paragraph 11 and also paragraph 12. And yes, unless you have discussion or need a motion to accept that recommendation from the Planning Commission, and then they tackle the other portion. And also, I will say also B3, which is the community center.
Right.
That's all part of 425-30.
Then we should make a motion to accept the changes to that section.
So we'll either make a recommendation to accept it. Once it's seconded, then we'll have a discussion if you want to change that up or modify it. Okay, so Ron has made the motion. I need a second.
Second.
I have a second from Ms. Cubie to accept paragraph 425-30, paragraph 11 and 12, and 425-30, paragraph B3, adding the community center. And with that, now I'll open it to any discussion that council members. Offer that. I will call for a vote then. Those that are in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I got 4-0. That amendment, motion passes. Now, as it relates to 425-31, there was a motion that paragraph A, B, and C remained as they were printed to us before some of us did scribble and doodle. We'll need a motion to accept that. Then we'll need a second, and then during the discussion, we can modify or change, or if before you want to make a motion, if you have something that you would like to say, we
I just had a couple of questions to make sure I'm not in the same car. Both of you, but y'all on a scenic road, because I think I'm in the van behind you. So I get frontage and yard regulations under letter A, side yard, where it abuts a home or a district where a home would be allowed, there would be a 20 yard or 20 foot yardage, correct?
Side
And so we're adding, or we were discussing adding a line that says between two businesses, there would be 7-foot distance. Am I understanding?
We-
correctly?
They took it out.
They took it out.
No.
They did.
Yeah.
It was the call requested it as town manager, and I think, seriously, is there a way that we can add that in there and make it discretionary, say that it is 5 feet, but can be waived for a cause by the,
Well, that would be BZA.
Right?
That would be BZA. So it would be that if they brought something to me and we looked at it and I feel that it would be better if they had space, then I can make that suggestion to them. It would then come to you guys, whatever, and then.
Just for clarification, so if we accept as the planning commission proposed, then we can have buildings right on the property line in commercial district.
Right, so yes, side yards, yeah.
So if we as a council vote to authorize an 8-foot yardage, can the builder, developer, business request conditional use to do them right up against one another?
No, they would have to request it. They would have to have, if they wanted to do that, it would go through an appeal process.
but that would be the variance.
But we
Right.
can't turn around and require it. I mean, hasn't the town gotten into this rabbit hole before where we are expecting that someone reading the code understands what was going on in somebody's head 50 years ago when they wrote the code? So if we require it, we need an 8-foot distance between both businesses, the town, there is a process that developer can take to remove that if they wanted to do, like Gordon did, a series of shopping establishments, right? But we can't put that back onto, let's say Stephanie comes in and buys up 8 lots. We can't then say, you need 8 feet between them. But
No,
we can, there is a process where she can remove that 8 feet.
no, so if Stephanie were to buy up 8 lots and wanted to put a business, she would get a survey and she would replat her whole parcel. And that would take away all of these lots. And one number, block 105, lot 2 versus block 105, lot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And here's
Well, what
what
if she wanted to open up like 6 different ice cream stores next to each other?
he owns.
So she would run a strip, do it like a strip mall on the property, but again, she would survey her lot, get it platted, and it would show that it's one parcel, and then in that parcel is where she does her setback.
Okay, now let's say, and just because this is how our code works, right? People have a million ideas and we need to kind of account for all of the what ifs.
And remember, when you have side yard 8, like it's 16. So that's a lot of space.
Between two businesses. So now let's say the 4 of you buy lots that are flat on there. And you want to open individual businesses.
Yeah.
We're taking away
Right.
a ton of space that could be businesses.
Especially with our weird lots.
Right, lots of things. But let's say the 4 of you create a conglomeration. All right, and now you want to open businesses that are like Gordonville, built right next to one another, and you're going to share responsibility for what that looks like in the town. Is there a process in place for the 4 of you to get together and construct businesses that are more like Gordonville?
Sure, we would form an LLC, we would get one plat, we would vacate the lines and then we would build it in the LLC and split the cost and
But you're saying not to do that, and I own a lot, she owns a lot, and Tony owns a lot, and I want to build a building, and she wants to build a building, and then we don't have a setback. So the only way to do that is to ask for a variance. If you add the 7-foot side yard.
So
You can't.
Which currently is not.
As for the site.
You're right, and I should have left that question in my office
But.
where it came in.
There was a point. But But is it something we resolved, or are you gonna walk away thinking, damn, I really want that side yard because it's important?
No, I think I can handle that.
But we are.
I think I can handle that with the person that wants to develop property and say, you know, for safety reasons, you should do X, Y, Z.
But if we set, so.
If you set them, I cannot get rid of them. And then they would have to do an appeal, and then it's another process. And now we have upset citizens, and then it has to go to the BZA, and then it has to go through this whole
But
thing
if it's not there and they come to you with a site plan, you can make those recommendations on the front end.
to say it would be safer if we did X for this reason.
I guess my issue is I like the space because if I own the property, now you're forcing me to join my building with my neighbors, and that neighbor might have a totally different type of architectural than what my business is. And at least if I had the 7 feet, you know, I have the entity, and then what David said is, now I gotta spend more money because I gotta put a firewall because I'm forced to join my building with yours because we said that's how we want it. And I don't know that I want to spend that extra money because I don't affect us.
You can say 6 feet, they're really not forcing you, you can put however big a setback you want, right? You can take the
You
6
can do it, yes.
You can
give
as much as you want.
60.
It's not forcing you to take more than 0.
You, the business, would say, I think there's another business that's going to build right there, and the town code says that they could build right on their property line. So my business, I'm going to move my business over 15 feet,
Need to do that.
but you don't need to.
But then making me use up my space.
So
Buyer beware to some extent, right?
All right, so gentlemen, council,
I guess.
so 425 and 31, number 80 and C, do you want to accept it like it was brought forward? Did you
Well,
have a
and-
discussion on it?
And what was brought forward, just to be clear, is that we take Mineral Avenue buildings must conform to existing structures and add it to A, B, and C. Or A, B, A and C.
And I can't even discuss the on Mineral Avenue. So, and this is where I need your expertise, because again, I mean, like my question before, this is what so I know we state in letter B on Mineral Avenue, so let's say somebody develops First Street and they develop the first 4 lots, and then there's 4 lots empty, and then there's 4 lots developed. Do we not want the business district to conform in its entirety, not just on Mineral Avenue?
You can do that because you want it to stay the same look and feel of what's already being built.
Right. So like, for example, in Roanoke, if you're familiar with Roanoke, they tore down a historic mansion and built this ultra modern museum in the heart of historic Roanoke. The town actually, or the city of Roanoke actually stepped in and said, no, you need to fix that. We don't want this ultra modern spaceship building. So they actually took the facade of the building they tore down and built it back up in front of the museum. So you walk in and it's all chrome and like this spaceship Star Trek feel, and they conform. But they conformed. They had the facade of the historic building standing up in front of the museum. It is the coolest thing in the world if you ever go wrong. But do we really want somebody coming in and building a silver 2-story office building and then right next to it a historic brick shopping center? I think that our entire general commercial district should conform to the existing structures within the district. And that follows our comprehensive plan, which is kind of our roadmap to success, right? For both our planning commission and council.
And the general districts are heavy, right? Our light district district isn't that our, shops and whatnot? I don't know why it's like that, because that is our, general is the industrial and, you know, and our light district would be our shops and our coffee shops and our.
I would think, but we have body shops and we have
Right.
small engine repairs and we have.
It's rezoning so that it makes sense. And, you know, just start there, but, you know, for next tonight, let's do this, but what you're saying makes sense, it's just what we have, doesn't.
Right, well, and then the space that we have available is kind of spotty because it was developed around the train and the mines and the.
Hotel.
So kind of haphazard at first, but
Bravo Hotel.
right.
Well,
I just think
if you,
the on Middle Avenue Park.
well, so I'm going to throw this at you because, and I'm sorry that we're dragging this on, but these questions are coming up. So if you say this person built this building and this person over here built this building and you have the space in the middle and those buildings are garages, do you want the middle space to conform to a garage? Yep. These are the questions. That's what you're saying if you say that. Now you're saying I want all general commercial to be conditional use because really you don't want all garages
We're
for
only
there.
talking about yardage, right? We're not talking about the physical structure. We're talking about distance from the street, distance between and distance behind. Is that setbacks? Is that?
On 31.
So that's what we're specifically talking about, just that, and you're just wanting, so that's fine, because we got on topic about buildings, so that's why I went
Just
there.
use those as examples. I mean, we don't want things to seal.
So you don't want one building up here and the next building back here and the other building up there and.
That's where he's at, and that was.
Okay, so, all right, and now we come full circle and we're good. Just wanted to make sure.
We're in the same spot.
I mean, that's about meeting to like what we want it to look like and say, this is what we want it to look like and build it. Anybody wanting to come here, this is what we want. So you need to conform.
Well, there's always room for variances and special conditions. That's what we have our zoning administrator and town manager for, is to be able to suss those out and be able to say, okay, you know, this is kind of a conditional use. This is gonna be a little bit different. But if we don't set the parameters from the start, that's when we make the job of our zoning administrator even more difficult, because if there is no written parameter, we can't make it up at the time of the request. It has to be in existence beforehand. Otherwise, we're not doing the job and creating a proper government.
Or 30.
I say that we remove the on Mineral Avenue and set the buildings must conform to existing structures for all three, because this is just distance from the road, distance between, this is not what they're doing.
Yeah.
This is where on the property they are allowed to build it. So if we have, you know, First Avenue, we have 3 separate buildings with the distance behind, but as it continues, it stays that same conform.
Okay, so there's a motion as it relates to 425-81 that we delete on Mineral Avenue, but other than that, all 3, the A, B, and C remains as forwarded to the council.
With it saying buildings must conform to existing structures on all three.
Correct. So I have a second. Any more discussion? Hearing any, then I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Let's go.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes a modification and entertain a motion to adjourn.
So made.
Second. Okay. See you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
I feel like we were in the driving down.
We were driving the Pacific Coast, I mean, the long way.
I could happy that we did.
Alright, I'm a.
I used to be the respected, like, oh, I was attorney director.
I'm okay to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll prefer by you now, like, like, I don't swear on our, but this could potentially, you know what I mean? Like, before they feel like
It was a lot of work.
I get it. Like, oh, my minutes are about to be the best for me. Let's go be commissioner.
What?
Now that those people have left.
Yeah, let's get rolling. So after we are at approving of minutes, behind tab G. You got a preset of meeting minutes. So we're getting caught up. These are some that were from our recent past. That need to get and they can be maintained for future record. Let's do them one by one. I hear a comment on the June 27th Kendall Town Council.
Wasn't here for that. I think it's great.
You will likely have seen. Any other comments or questions? It's good. I would like to ask one, not a question, but for clarification. On page, if you look down in the square box at the bottom of the dark color thing, so I'm looking at page 9. But at the top of that page, it says ARC review. I think we discussed what that was. I'm not sure that I remember the answer. Can we say in the minutes what the ARC review is?
Do you know what that is? It's the area, where is it?
Second line on top of the page of what I'm looking at.
Yeah, second line of page 9.
Section G, item.
Yeah, it's the area review committee.
Area
I
review.
think it's area review committee.
I think this was what was going on in the meeting and we were like, what is this? And we just decided.
Exactly.
It's the ARC review when it says you have different departments that, or places like we would have Louisa County Water Authority review a site plan because it affects the water that they supply and the lines that come into Mineral. We would have the public safety review.
Did we come to a consensus of this agency review? Something such as that, a bunch of different agencies.
Agencies.
Is that?
That's, yep. I forgot what I'll look it up. It's acronym.
So,
Looking it up now.
Thank you. I should know it by heart.
I have heard of it, but I don't know what it stands for, so I'd say we ought to at least on condition.
Yeah, and so it's because whenever you have a site plan or you have multiple developments, you send them to VDOT, to, it would be Louisa, County Water Authority, it would be your public safety, it would be your school system.
You would determine.
Yeah, it would be your landfill because, yeah, no. It's not. It's agency because it's
I'm just gonna say.
agency review committee.
Agency.
We'll stick with that.
Let, I suggest that we spell that out also. Anybody else look at that, you don't have to ask, and then you can just use that
Yeah.
afterwards. And I wanted to ask on page 10, where at line 10, near the bottom, chapter 3, it says in that longer paragraph that begins zoning administrator, the last sentence, the town attorney will work on a rough draft of the ordinance to have it ready for review during the August meeting. Did that ever get done?
Yeah, we talked about.
Yeah, that one's been passed by council, right? 380. Pretty sure I have it in.
We did, so we did updates to the zoning, to the subdivision ordinance, but we did not do a rewrite of our subdivision ordinance.
But we did adopt.
But we did adopt revisions. We did not have a full
That was
updated subdivision ordinance.
July, right?
Okay, so no need to change anything there. I don't have any. Anybody else have anything to change or entertain a motion to adopt it with that one clarification of what part we just. Need to adopt it with that one verification. Leah has made a motion to adopt it with the amendment. Do I hear a second?
I'm happy to second it, but I wasn't here.
That's fine.
You can't.
What do you want to?
Nobody else is
If
here.
nobody else does, please help.
Nobody else present then
Yeah.
is present today.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Except you.
Except you.
Okay, well, I'll second.
Okay.
I can, it says should, doesn't say shall. I left it that way intentionally. It doesn't say shall. I second it.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes unanimously 2-0. You want to abstain? Shield.
It doesn't matter to me.
That's frequently done. That's a good practice. If you aren't attending, it's hard to use.
Yep.
Verify, certify that it's right.
But yeah,
I abstained also.
if we all abstain, if all of those of us who are here abstaining, you don't have a quorum.
No, that doesn't matter. No, it can be, at least I've seen it done where it's only 2 people that end up voting. It's 2, 4 and all the rest abstain, it passes.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good then.
That doesn't work for the quorum for the meeting, but.
2, 4, none against, 3 abstained.
Yep.
Sounds great to me.
All right, so now the next meeting is July the 25th. This is a lot more integral. And looking at that, who was present, there was only 3 of us present. That was me, Lauren, and Lisa. Lisa will not be present with us more. She is the person who has resigned. We'll talk about later. Lauren, I might ask you first. Do you have confidence?
On page 14, my name is Lisa Ball, but I'm Lauren Ball. Sorry.
Where
I'll
is
the answer to Lisa. Page 14.
I think it's all the way through because I copied and pasted.
Oh, that's so. I'm
We'll
right,
fix it.
I'm correct on attendance on page 13.
And then you're, okay.
And you're copied and pasted.
Yeah, and then you're copying.
About the rest of the document. Wonderful.
But I would like to say that our clerk did this on probably her second day of work.
Honestly, they're very thorough and you did a wonderful job.
She wasn't.
And you just know me.
Meeting, I was having to watch
Yes.
videos.
Oh, you did these from the video.
Mhm.
Which sometimes videotapes are complete or somehow there's problems. So you might have it even.
I'm surprised you got anybody.
Okay, so amend Ms. Ball's name throughout.
Yes.
Page 17,
Okay.
page. Close to the bottom, 425-31, language amended to include dwellings.
Oh, dwellings, not swelling.
Stephanie may have mentioned, but I didn't hear it, but
Uh-huh.
are you gonna change all references to Lisa Ball?
Throughout.
Yep.
It might be easier if I just changed my name though.
Yeah, you know, that name change process.
Introduce a splash.
The commissioner formerly known as.
Let me ask on page 19, here, next to the, next one to the bottom. Motion to recommend council to review planning commission safety concerns with the development made by Ball and seconded by Wade. Again, that was sent to the town council. Was that? Or I guess that's been considered. So I don't have a question. Excuse me. Ignore that. All right. Have a motion, Ms. Lauren?
Yep, I move we accept the minutes as written with the correction of Commissioner Lowe's name.
And dwelling,
And
dwellings to
dwellings. Yes.
I'll second that.
Or Tony. Yeah.
You were at this one, Tony?
no,
Oh, no.
You would know.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, I'll second. Any further questions, comments, or discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor, either aye, nay, or abstain? Aye. So I think this would be two, a bunch of
okay,
abstentions, those that weren't present.
okay.
I'll ask you, Ms. Zoning Administrator, would you agree with that being proper procedure to use that? If you weren't there, you should abstain.
Yes,
I think legal.
that's the way you're supposed to do it.
All right, so let's get to the August 22nd. Any comments or questions regarding that? This one has Keith and Teresa. So Teresa, you and I are two that were present.
Was this the meeting when you didn't have a quorum?
Yes.
Oh, yes, that's right. So.
Yeah, there's no voting.
I don't think we need to do anything.
No, it's just there because
Because it happened.
We were able to have a place filler so that in the future, anybody coming back is looking, will see
Yep,
what transpired,
Right.
that no action took place.
exactly.
And yes, we were here. Probably good if it's in, given that anybody that wanted to be here have been here. And then we. So let's take care of the minutes.
Should these minutes say that you didn't have a quorum?
It does.
I think it does say that. I think I saw that.
Very
I
beginning.
think it's at the top of page 22.
Okay, because
Not enough members present for a quorum, therefore no motions were made and no vote stated without a quorum present, the PC meeting is canceled. Chairman further noted 2 new members present and he would like to take, I think it said approximately a half hour to introduce the new members. So there were some discussions, no action taken. It'd be like, no action since we need to have a motion to accept the statement.
Okay.
Yeah, we might as well do that. Yeah. Old business, Chairman Cuey, update status of Middletown Council actions regarding mineral planning traditions and recommendations. I don't know why I put that on there. I believe that everyone is aware that the recommendations this body had adopted from those public hearings went to the town council and they approved, I think, all of it that as submitted, but we had to have our meeting tonight to rectify a couple of small matters. With that being said, I think we've made monumental progress as a planning commission and as a council to have addressed and gotten these done. Kind of like what was the word I heard from some missing things or some loopholes.
Yeah.
Oversights. Yeah. All right. I don't think any other action regarding that is necessary, but I'll answer any questions if there are any. Hearing none, let's go to new business. So election of Mineral Planning Commission's vice chairman. I don't know that the Mineral Planning Commission has ever had one. It certainly makes sense to have one. We were told by our former town attorney that the enabling legislation for creating the planning commission did not provide for a vice chairman, it only provided for a chairman and a secretary. So that had to be revised. It's my understanding that we offered them something, they approved it. That got changed and it's available. So
I believe that when I came on, I'm trying to remember because our chair had to step down, whether I was made a vice chair and then took over, or whether when she had to leave, they just pointed at me. You would remember.
Oh,
This is Washington. The council approved us creating that position, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So here we are. We have the opportunity to do that. And I highly recommend it because, you know, I can get sick or I might have to be on vacation. From time to time, do that. So if I'm not here and, you know, you need to have a vice chairman to make things continue without having to figure out who's going to take charge or cancel a meeting. So I recommend it. And with that, and this will normally be done every time you have an annual meeting. Our annual meetings will be in January. So in January, the body will be deciding who's going to be the chairman, who will be the vice chairman, who will be the secretary. Because since this thing's got actions were taken, we now have Stephanie who provides that position versus a person volunteering to do so. I'm very pleased about that, and I think everybody would be. Let me open the floor for any nominations. Vice Chairman, let me clarify that the way that our bylaws are set up is you make nominations and as chairman will receive them. You don't need a second. And then we'll close it after those no more to be needed. One, or it's two or three, and then we'll vote on them one by whoever's name came up first. If who gets the majority, that's who it becomes. All right, and I open the floor for nominations for the vice chairman of the planning commission, and really that is from now until our annual election, which will take place in January. Any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Mr. Snyder.
I second.
Okay.
Like you never have.
If I don't need a second, well, thank you very much. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none. Motion to close the nominations. Make it easy.
I move we close the nomination.
All right, I have a motion for that. You seconded it. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nominations are closed. You have one nomination. That was for Jim Snyder. All those in favor of Jim Snyder as your chairman, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes 5-0. Congratulations, Jim. Jim, I'm not going to be here the next couple of minutes.
It's, you know, just like stepping into traffic. I've done that. I'm not as organized as you. I'm amazed. So if you're absent, you'll just have to phone and everything that you're doing right now.
We'll get there.
Or get there.
I think we're doing very well. Second item, proposed town code amendments. So again, once the comprehensive plan had been adopted, we as planning commission set up to deal with the things that were brought to our attention as missing or in need of revisions. We took care of those, and we may continue to do this as the benefit could be derived from it. I've talked with Mrs. Washington about it, and think our consensus was that these three would be top on the list. I know it's over mine anyway, and that is the Chapter 355 sewer and sewage disposal, Chapter 375 streets and sidewalks, and Chapter 166 cemeteries. So let's take a quick look at them in the order which are listed there. You have a package that they prepared and it's sent out. Chapter 355 sewer and sewage disposal.
Does the one in their book have a red line or is that just separate?
There was a lot of places through this document that said that
Because the system.
superintendent, and in some cases, the town mayor may be responsible for lots of activities. And I think, I was gone, just got back to that, I had to look at the red page. I did one prior to that, but that would be a major focus of things that were changed in both cases. The superintendent and the town mayor, I believe, were changed to the town manager. One, we have a professional town manager who can be talking with all the different individuals that may come before the town on a day-to-day basis and want to do development or whatever else it may be. So that person also supervises everybody in the town as far as the workforce. So the town manager makes sense. You don't have a superintendent at the present time. Maybe at some point you will, but you don't have a maintenance superintendent. I didn't remember when I was on council at the beginning, there was one, but it wasn't continued. So can you tell us anything more of what to look at, what things that were changed in this case Washington?
Yeah, so I was looking through this and I want to just get some information from you guys on 355-20. It's connections to public sewer, abandonment of private systems. Bottom of page 28.
It's 5/12.
28.
Yeah. Okay, so at the bottom, it says that it's basically saying that a house, this is how I'm reading it, that a house, that where there is sewer available and a house has a private sewage disposal system, that they are to connect to the public sewer. And in our districts, we're saying that if they have, we're not making them get rid of their private sewer to connect to the sewer, the public sewer if it's available. However, if it fails, they'll connect to the public sewer. This is saying that the way I'm reading it is that they have to connect to it. Is that, am I reading it wrong?
No, it's actually, yeah, you're right. Two different things.
So.
Thinking about my house, my sewer system is in good shape. It's fine. There's no way to connect right now. And if you come by, initially this says I have to abandon my system.
Right, and I don't know that we would actually want people to do that. It's saying that they have to abandon.
At such time as a public sewer available to a property. Served by private sewer.
So do you know? Go ahead. What?
Couldn't you do that if the property was sold? At that time, they have to connect instead of.
I mean, you could, but I don't know that we would want to put that burden on somebody that even is buying a home that has a operational septic system. And the reason why is because it costs almost $18,000 to connect to the public water. If they fail, there is no space to put a reserve on many of these lots. So they would connect them, but because then it would just be too expensive for them
to try to
fix it. And yeah.
Yeah, but construction is.
All new construction is. This is if they are on.
Yeah.
What about new construction where everything is available, but you still go to septic?
They still go with septic because that is taken care of in the district where it says if available. So this, I would just want to make sure that the town is not
It's my
requiring
understanding there's only a few places where it's not available, right?
on the back.
Yeah.
The end of the sentence,
I'm sorry.
after date of official notice.
90 days is a very short period of time to potentially come up with $20,000 or.
No, but I think that's.
Oh, 90 days after the date of the official notice by the town. So it says a direct connection shall be made, shall is the word, be made to public sewer in compliance with this chapter within 90 days after the date of official notice by the town to do so. I get what you're saying. You're saying that I would have to tell them they have to do it and they must do it. But the way that I'm also reading it is that if it's available, then they should do it. And I don't want it to be that the town manager is supposed to go out and tell them, and then they have 90 days.
This is like an extra thing on your plate that doesn't need to be there and a decision that you don't need to make, right?
I think it's leaves the decision to the town, so it's not like you have to, but you can if you think it's necessary.
So the next sentence says, if it fails, not working properly, well, then we have to.
That's a whole different.
Well, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, if it's not failing, I think what you were saying, if it's not failing, there's no need for the town to force that.
That's what I'm saying, but that's not the way I read that. But I get what you're saying, is there's the option. Okay.
Here as a citizen to rest upon the town manager or even the town council choosing to
tell you what to do.
Single out individuals. It's what I would hear from somebody in the audience say.
If I wasn't here and if there was a whole different council, maybe that town manager or that council would force them to do that. And I just don't know that. I would know I don't want that to happen. And I think down the road, we need to make sure it doesn't.
Unless the state law, this is tracking what the state law says, then you have to do what the state law says. But
I will say
not highly burdensome to say that you could be told within 90 days, you've got to take out of your pocket whatever it costs to connect. Here at $20,000 or something. I mean, your system may be actually working just fine.
Yeah. We need to leave in, I think, the part that says if the private sewage disposal system is not working properly and doesn't meet with all the requirements, you need to.
Then they have to be made.
Maybe add, so you don't upset.
You might add wording that says if the private sewer system predates the availability of the town system, and if that private sewer system is in good working order, then connection is not required. If that sewage system then fails, you have to make the connection.
The septic system.
That septic system failed. So that makes sense for me.
It made sense when you said it. I would say though that there are plenty of residences in the town that have sewage systems, septic systems that do not predate the towns. Because for a long time, we let people choose.
No, I didn't say predate the town, predate the availability.
Right, predating, there are homes though that have septic that does not predate the town's.
Right, they were allowed to do that.
They're allowed to continue adding sewers until
Yes.
like recently.
Yeah.
So you're saying I had sewage line in the front yard, but I went with a septic system instead.
There are, yes.
There are people that did that.
So are we going to, then that would beg the question, are you going to continue
No.
that practice?
No. Because the state, you can do that. You're allowed to, because there's these alternative systems that can be built in mounds, right? But the state says that you have to have a reserve area now, and your area has to be large enough to be able to have that reserve area. You don't have a large enough area for a conventional system, and an alternative system costs $30,000 to $40,000 or more. So would you pay the $18,000 for the connection, or would you pay the,
So there's those 4 lots behind my house.
So
There you go. You own that though, but there are people that don't, they do not.
say is,
Yeah.
so this needs to be reworded.
Or just take that sentence all the way out to where it says, if the private sewage disposal system is questions not working, in questions not working. You could take out at such time,
So take that.
yeah, take all of that out,
Yeah.
right? From at such time, all the way down to where it says 90 days after the date of official notice. Because all new construction is, if available, is going on public
Right.
sewer. At this time.
Would it be good to put that in there just for, unless it's somewhere else that,
Yeah, we can put it,
because that's the important thing. If you're building new and the system is available to you, you gotta use the public.
Required.
Yeah, that needs to be required.
If you have a private septic system.
But if you have private,
Then at that
Then
time,
you
you have to.
connect if it's available.
Right.
But yeah, I don't see a notification being given to those that had to do it or have done it. Nobody stopped them if they, for whatever reason, apparently. If they're got an operating system, I think it's severe to say that you can be told, sorry, we want you on the town system, you have to connect to us and give you a time frame in which to do it.
Yeah.
So
So I did that. I'm going to take out the first sentence all the way through 90 days after the date official to the end where it says town to do so. Remove that. Add in all new dwellings shall connect to public sewer unless not available. And keep if the private sewage disposal system in question is not working properly and if does not meet within the requirements of Louisa County Health Department when connection has been made with the public.
excellent. Consensus on that? We won't do motions on.
Right,
We'll
so
do
we've
it
got the
after we're
mandatory
done.
connection.
Seem reasonable? I think it sounds reasonable.
Yeah, I think that's completely reasonable.
Just lines run through my head that
Yeah.
as you're writing, I'm going, well, can you put this and that? If y'all agree, I'll shut up.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, all I would say is the line would be, it is responsibility of the property owner to provide for,
Well,
yeah, and then these are the rules you have to follow there, but if it's an ugly one, then we don't.
it's,
It's-
so there's a lot of debate about that. And right now our districts say the town shall provide sewer where sewer can be available.
Well, if it's not available, whoever owns the property has to build the system.
No,
No,
if there's a development, then yes. So for example, if the PUD gets developed,
yes,
right? They would have to supply all of the development for that sewer and water.
Yeah.
Right? But if Mrs. Smith down the road has property and wants to build on that, the town should not, in my opinion, make the citizen pay to extend the town's line of public sewer.
that's what I'm saying.
The property owner is to pay for it from the connection of the town.
The property owner pays for the connection fee, yes, but they do not pay to extend the town line.
Saying it is property, either job to either provide the septic system or the connection.
Yes, that's automatic. That's already in there.
Okay.
Not in here, but it's,
35510, it talks about the
Thank you.
mandatory connection to the public service. So it's just that over one page,
Okay.
is where it talks about how. Well, you can read it underneath here. Yeah, I was gonna say, you can read it. So that clarifies a good bit of what is in 35520. And I think it's cited. So in the first sentence that you're taking out on 35520, it cites 35510.
oh,
Whenever you reword it, it might be smart, like when what you're adding in to continue to cite back to 35510. You know what I mean?
got it.
For that clarity, because that really does answer a lot of those questions.
Erica.
It's any of my candy.
Who, me?
Yes, it was good.
You don't want to tell me that. I'll eat all the candy.
Okay, so we just said that is all of the substantive.
Oh.
The titles.
Oh, my.
On, for, yeah, other than superintendent to town manager, yes.
Okay, so connection requiring extension of public sewer beyond town limit. I think this is okay. This is beyond town limits, not in town. So the burden would go on the applicant to do that because we don't, it's out, they can do it. I'm sorry,
Where is it?
34, 355-48.
How many things?
I think that's fine.
So I just wanted to make sure we kept that. And then that's it for me on this one.
So, going back to which first one is this? You said superintendent, town manager. What do you? Got too many copies of it. Sure. So
Do you have a red line copy?
this document is red.
Red line, that's your red line.
So superintendent says town manager,
Yeah.
and then there's a one that says acts as superintendent, sewer and sewage proposal. There are still times in here, some that you've stricken out the superintendent and put town manager, but there's 4 or 5 that superintendent is still in there. You want those to be changed or?
Oh, I see.
I can
I'll do a find and replace. I don't.
looking on this one, the numbers, if you look on page 7 of 12, there's superintendent at 355-29, 355-31.
I'll do a find and replace.
Yeah, I mean, that'll work. That's
Yeah.
what I would suggest. Okay. I entertain a motion, if I'm not putting anyone off, for us to recommend to the town council the review and changes to the sewer and sewage disposal, chapter 355, pertaining to title work and that major one that was section what, 355-20? 355-20 is the annual.
Yes.
So moved.
Yes.
All right, so I got a motion by Lauren and who was the, yes, second. Second. No further discussion? No. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Okay, 5-0, that's taken care of.
beautiful.
All right, so next on the list, which is
Streets and sidewalks.
the streets and sidewalks. I'll just let you jump in, Mr. Washington, lead us on, please.
So this one just had a lot of mayor slash.
Sergeant. I like that one.
There's a town sergeant?
It says
Oh,
town,
yeah.
the duty of the town sergeant.
Yeah, they used to have a police officer. No longer.
What page is that on?
It's in 373-11.
Okay. So we're replacing mayor and town sergeant with
You,
town manager. Oh,
Do you want to be the person, removing people who are blocking free passage of the street or sidewalk?
I mean,
Is that the job of the town manager?
yeah, it's code enforcement.
I guess that's true. I
Code
guess.
enforcement is all code enforcement.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
so the one thing, so that was the major issue, right? Was trying to just get with the town manager to be in here. There were a couple other things I looked at. So on C, it talks about lots on undeveloped streets may not access developed streets via right of ways, easements, or alleys. Only streets designated on the town and mineral map prepared by Bishop in 1890 may be used unless town council approves realignment purposes.
I'm lost as where you were.
First page.
375.
B. You're okay. So this clearing on First Street came up and I circled this today. as I was reading it, because it does pertain to us. Even though that clearing is county property, it has no access in mineral through the county. It only has access in mineral, and the only roads it can access are Virginia, St. Mary's, and Piedmont. It cannot access First Street because First Street is abutting to someone else's property. It feeds, First Street feeds right into someone else property owner. So property owner B has a landlocked parcel and they just cleared it. And they used Virginia Avenue to run all their logs out. And I found that there were some issues with that happened in the town that I'm addressing. And so this brings to mind how we make sure that that doesn't happen. So right now, the only thing that we can do is to continue to watch and make sure that we work with the county and VDOT for them to get permission to use that. And the only thing, the town can do is to put up a no through access sign. But there's a problem because we have land that is surrounded by the county and roads that lead into those areas. We have not abandoned them. We have not done anything with them. They're just there, and someone could go and say, oh, that's a road on the mineral map. And there's a driveway there that some people are using, even though it's a road. And they would just be able to come right up to it and say that it's accessible, even though the road hasn't been developed, but there's gravel there. So there's a lot of things going on. We haven't abandoned all the roads that lead to nowhere into the county.
Right.
I don't know that we should, but I'm just saying that's something that we're paying attention to. And this was the first one that came up. And so how do we address that? It has to be approved, and I think this talks about it, but I think we need to be very specific in this that says any county land that abuts to mineral property that accesses any roads in the town of Mineral would need permission to have through space, however we word that, but that's where we need to pay attention.
Yeah, the fact is, if it's on that map as a street or an alleyway and it's never been built, it's never been constructed, it is town property. It is not the individual who wants to use it. If they.
Is that Tommy Ron's property?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's right here. It's this whole property. All of this. It's not this property. See, this is First Street. Can y'all see that?
Mm-hmm.
This is First Street. See, First Street leads into this property.
Right.
This property owner is landlocked. They feed into Virginia Avenue, which,
Where it's undeveloped.
well, it's gravel.
It's gravel because.
It's gravel and it was a driveway because there's a house.
Because there's a
trailer
house and a trailer.
up to, yeah,
It's paved like halfway.
right here.
Right, yeah.
And then
Through there.
they've been trucking all of their logs out and they've torn up the road. And Piedmont, and then there's St. Mary's, which this is that, I don't know, old hotel or something. So that's a possibility. So the point I'm making is I read through this.
Street, where they're coming out. They're coming.
West Second Street, yeah. Mhm. It's West Second and then it crosses that St. Mary's.
Yeah, St. Mary, and then it's Virginia, and then it's Piedmont.
Piedmont and then
Virginia is where they're.
yeah, right here. And so I think there's some wording that needs to go. It may say that they have to have approval, but it doesn't necessarily say that they have to have approval outside of the county to access the town roads. It says that any undeveloped roads in the town they have to get permission. So these are developed.
So if out in the county, you've got property that doesn't have an entrance, It has to go through VDOT, am I correct?
Yep, so I sent all this to VDOT. They're very aware of it, but what happens is VDOT says sometimes this happens where the counties surround a town and the county just comes in. Next thing the town knows is that there's now a road and that road is a through road because that road was developed in the town. And so the county or the property owner, not the county, but the property owner decided to connect right up to it. And VDOT said sometimes we miss those.
So it's opportunity to put barriers.
Well, that, or we can allow them to access it and require the county to make sure that we are involved in the site plan. We ask for sidewalks, we ask for curb and gutter, we ask for privacy. All that land got cleared, and here's the buffer situation. All of it got cleared right up to the people's houses. So there is no buffer for them. Everything is exposed, nothing.
I can tell you first experience, he's ask for forgiveness, not permission to die. You got to do whatever you can.
I understand. So that's why these setbacks and all this stuff it's important for us to be able to protect those areas. Now, this is a site plan situation and everyone is aware of what's going on. And I've made them aware so that I can be a part of it and that they understand that they have to have permission. But we need to make sure this wording is absolutely concrete.
I do believe that that property has been on the market for over 2 years.
Yes. Right.
And to me, if that were to be approved for development, would not like the end of Second Street from before the curve, whatever, is that Piedmont Street or? is that
Piedmont.
Virginia.
Virginia's in the back and then
Yeah. It is.
St. Mary's.
It's only wide enough for a single car.
Piedmont. Virginia is not.
Impossible.
Virginia. A
So,
whole tractor trailer logging truck came.
Yeah, it's wide enough there.
Yeah.
so
But it's not big.
So if the owner of that was wanting to develop it, would it be within the legal realm where the town said that if you're going to increase the population there by multifamily dwellings, or whatever you're going to do, that you would be responsible for the road construction and for the extension that you're using?
Yes. And
That's what should happen.
that's where we get involved in the site plan. But this language, we need to make sure expresses that any roads that are butting to county parcels.
So tell us what you're.
I know.
Well, here's the thing though. You have lots on undeveloped streets.
Yep.
That people live on. And they need to access the developed streets via the lots. Most of those roads haven't been abandoned. They are driveways for all intents and purposes, but on the map, they're roads.
Yep. We don't want to abandon them.
Exactly.
We want to say the language that all roads that butt up to county property that would likely be developed. Because the individuals that back here, there are
Right.
lots of,
No, I understand. I mean,
if they made their driveway out of a road without permission, well, buyer beware, land.
Happened 14 lots there.
Right. I'm just saying, you went through the process of abandoning it.
that road.
That's absolutely
because we had
correct.
Foresight of that lot being
Right.
for sale.
But that doesn't, I don't want to cause waves with citizens, but the problem is that you have citizens that say, I've used this all this time. And now it's not the town that's developing the road. The road goes nowhere. Okay.
Right.
We can abandon that road, but it has to go through, and who's going to pay for that? And so we've talked about writing a policy that maybe says roads and alleys that lead to county that go nowhere, we should abandon because they're for the town purposes, they mean nothing. But for the county and the parcel that's in the county, they mean access to the town. So that's a decision that has to be made if we want to do that. If we don't do that and we take these roads like this one, that's not abandoned, that leads to the county, and we leave it open, the county could develop that, not the county, the property owner could develop that, and they could request for access and get permission, and they would be responsible for developing that road. And so the language here for this all-in purposes, it needs to say that any road that that abuts to county, property, parcels within county limits have to have permission and a site plan and road development agreements with the town. Because otherwise,
It's either that or look for those close, so that if they're closed, they'd have to.
And that would be a policy for us to do.
They wouldn't have that ease of graphics.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's, again, we're talking about loopholes.
Well, the quickest thing to do here is to reword this right now, vote on it.
I'm busy.
Are you writing it? Beautiful. Perfect. Reword this right now, get it to council so that they can vote on it and it can immediately be or very quickly be encoded. This is obviously an ongoing problem.
So what I've got, Town of Mineral takes on the regulation of roads, takes on or is responsible for the regulation of roads within the Town of Mineral, accesses Town of Mineral roads from properties outside of the bounds of the town shall require provision of a site plan to be approved by the town, VDOT, and the county planning commission.
Well, we can't say that.
We can't require.
We can't require-
We can't require the county.
No, we can require VDOT.
VDOT already wants to be required. They want to know what's going on,
But otherwise, that's perfectly worded.
the ARC review. But it's when they go there, they would go to the county and request this development. We have to have a relationship with the county that they pulled the Town of Mineral in. The Town of Mineral has to be watching all this development in order to be involved in what's happening. So on the backside of the Town of Mineral where this is, it's hard, right? You have to drive and see what's going on. But I'm working a relationship with the development department so that we're kept in the loop.
This situation could occur all the way around the town.
Yeah.
There's no
So
place.
very easily can be done field that is coming down 22 into the town. The field that's to the west of here. It goes all the way around to Second Street. It could easily be done down at your end, where Kennan Road goes off and 522 continues ahead, where all that field is between the town and the cemetery. All that could be developed very easily and use roads coming out of the town. So this is not a far-fetched thing. This is something that is happening.
Yeah.
So what I did after listening, because I beat twice, to provide a site plan to be approved by Town Mineral and VDOT. Roads connecting to Town of Mineral streets must meet standards set by, or meet the standards set for Town of Mineral streets.
Well, if you were going to ask to close the street or open the street, you got to have a public hearing and you got to go to all that. Would this be something that could require a public hearing?
Well, it will require a public hearing, but because we can require a public hearing, but it is an approval of road access is what we're looking at. And so we just want to make sure they get approval of road access with a review of a site plan and conditions set,
Yeah.
which normally
I
happens.
think Jim had really good, I think what he was writing was really good, like the second sentence especially.
Okay, you can write it and then,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, so do you have things in here that?
So.
I can cycle it up.
Okay, which one? This one?
It would start here.
Okay. That was the only thing. I'm worried about the roof.
As he's landlocked, using that as
Well, and then like this one right here is on the back, the west end, back in the back.
Yeah.
And this road is not developed, but this is a developer's, property owner's land, like a developer's land. And they're eventually going to develop that.
And do you want to be able to say that we reserve certain streets for through traffic?
That would be up to, we wouldn't abandon the street. So we could say, we could then decide if it ever comes up, you can decide then if you want that street bigger.
That are just not used, like,
Right.
I got two streets.
Lee Street is one of them, right? Is it Lee? I think it's Lee Street.
Yeah, most driveways in this town are absolutely
Anything
shady.
you can't decipher, I can type out.
That's fine. I put a picture of it.
While you're
You can
working,
request clarification.
let everybody else is here. 37511, Assembly versus blocking free passage of free travel. We don't have town surgeons, we don't have police.
Yeah, but we got all them.
My suggestion would be town sergeant, police town manager, but down here where it says by the police, authorized officials, if you needed police, you could call the sheriff's department. Persons are usually first after being directed to or to do so by the police, by authorized officials. It may be specified specifically who that is, but the town manager it shall be the duty of the town manager or any police officer to disperse any such assembly or congregation. I mean, you can tell them you want to, but you can't physically get out there and do it. So that's where the police come in. We don't have you contact the sheriff's department.
I think you're looking at an uncorrected version. What was put in my book?
Okay,
That's what you just said.
okay, then, thank you.
I don't know what's going
Yeah, I'm looking at what I was reading. Can't, not what was here, what I got here. Okay, so I don't need to read those.
All right, I feel good on this side. Is there more that we need to?
But yeah, if you've got mayor, I think town manager should be in.
Yeah.
Okay. There, and if it's missed, just do it. Wherever you insert it, wherever in place of. I think that this was written long ago, probably in lots of cases before a town manager existed. You know? Yeah, I see, here's the mayor there.
Any buys skates, toys, or other devices.
Or whether.
I just think that's ridiculous. I think that needs to be taken out. I think all of it needs to be taken out.
I don't think that it's the position of political person, whoever.
I think we should take this whole thing out.
Be doing all that.
I just-
What that, what the.
So 375.18,
Zero.
can we all agree that we actually do really like children here and it's fine if they ride their bicycles on the sidewalks?
And remove all.
And maybe just remove A and B. 375.18.
Use of bicycles and play vehicles on sidewalks or public areas. Like it talks about running, kids with toys, skates. I think we need to, and private property, I mean, people know that it's private property.
It says you can have baby carriages, or strollers, if the child is not exceeding 5 years old. So if you have, a disability and might need to be a stroller past the age of 5, sorry, you can't be on the sidewalk. That's
Okay, we're gonna
literally,
I want to remove this whole,
Move.
I can go.
Precinct.
yep, and then I'll renumber.
That's wild.
We're doing an active service by just, hitting some of the things to highlight, bring the council's attention to what is a suggestion for them to improve upon the existing ordinances. So have we gotten to where we're basically removing the obsolete positions and putting in town manager in place of it? And we're deleting 37518.
Yep.
Another, and we're looking for some wording for the very important
Streets.
Okay. And there's notes. Yep. All the way through. Do they come out of the state code?
Yeah, they're pretty much all of the citing
Okay.
the code or another place in our code.
Sounds good. This is the state code you have to abide by. Non-debatable, really.
The old law, the old law,
Right. Yeah.
state mom, everybody else's kids, right?
So how you coming, Jim? Did you have the wording or did somebody else have the wording?
He did the word.
No, the wording's over there. That
Okay.
I wanted to discuss with Ms. Paul another time about bicycles. And I'm thinking about who do I see at 8:15 in the morning.
Lots of children. Buses.
We're cooking, so let's keep cooking.
Okay.
So what is my motion that is being presented related to streets and sidewalks? How about it?
I move that we accept the changes made to chapter 375, streets and sidewalks, amending positions and deletion of number 18 and in the inclusion of words regarding access to city streets from county land.
Yeah,
And that's at item C in 375-1.
yeah, there is
That covers everything in the section.
the town.
Second.
So I got a motion, Jim, the second from to Lauren. Any further question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Those opposed? Let's that stand as 5-0. Yeah, right, okay. Cemeteries. I believe that this was primarily section 166. In that it says the town of Mineral owns and operates a cemetery outside of the town limits known as Spring Grove Memorial Cemetery Park. The mayor or his designee is responsible for the operation thereof, including the sale of lots and the administration of the perpetual care fund associated therewith. And again, that's beyond what the mayor should be responsible for. That could be the chief financial officer and our person that we have as the town manager.
Hold on, can I ask a question? And it's probably a dumb question. Do we have to make a motion to recommend those changes up to council
Yeah.
for the ones before? I don't think that was in his motion.
In his motion to recommend changes.
Recommend the changes to council.
Oh, I thought that
Here's a motion that we received.
I felt it over here. I knew.
You know what I'm saying? If it's taken away, he was making a motion to change it. Or
That's how it sounded. I don't know. What do y'all think?
Do you want me to do that motion again?
your amendment to your motion is.
Amend my previous motion by adding that we forward this to the town council with the changes we've already agreed on.
As a recommendation with the change.
As recommendation in favor.
Thank you.
Very good. So that gets you by Laura. I'm there. Yeah, we need to accept. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Okay, thank you.
Good catch before that we left it. But we do have these things taped. So, all right, cemeteries, again, 166.2 was the main thing that I recall. I see the editor, I haven't read them, but assuming that those are in order and need to be there.
One question. Would this be a situation where the town manager would have the treasurer be their designated person to handle sale and all of that? So.
Yeah, but in the past, they've had to do all of it in the office, so the town manager usually does all of it, but yes, the town treasurer handles the money of all sales and all bills and all deposits and all everything.
So if it said town manager or his designee, her designee.
Mhm.
It's sort to be left in there.
Yeah, we can, yeah. No, it's fine.
So it's fine as is that what we're saying?
Well, we're gonna add manager. We're gonna get rid of mayor.
Oh, the mayor, we're just.
General manager or designee.
Yes.
So you picked up gathering the editor's notes about some things that needed to be brought to the attention. Right. The notes, additional criminal criminal distress, I think, in the cemetery. It's like good to know.
Yeah.
Great editors.
And then it's time of adoption too. Okay. So
I move we recommend town council and changes to 166.2 as it pertains to who is responsible for the operation. Cemetery.
I've got a motion. By Ms. Ball, seconded by Ms. Lee to send to the council recommendation, change in 166.2, town manager designate, and to incorporate the editorial things that you said,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And seconded that way. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So be it. That takes care of that. Let's see if we get something moving along. The amendment of meeting dates. Washington, do you want to
Yes.
point out that we have a conflict for the October meeting? And that is there's a parade in town or something? Is that right?
Oh, it was the night of the homecoming parade. I bet it
Yeah,
is.
it is.
So that
Do you
would be at
want
the same time that this is going on. So that
Yeah.
would, we probably should change.
We'll
But
have a hard time getting it.
yeah, well, that's right.
And I'm gonna be at the parade.
Yeah. So the thought has come up that.
We can open blinds for you.
Thought had come up that if we need to change it, what we've done before, was that the planning commission met on the third Thursday night at 6:30 versus the fourth. If we change it there, my question to the group would be, does anybody have any objection to just changing our schedule from what is now the fourth and back to the third? To me, that gives 2 weeks before and 2 weeks afterwards to get information from the council to us and for us to get information to the council better than if we meet the fourth Thursday. So I'm asking, would council entertain changing our scheduled meeting to the third Thursday of the month?
It also helps with the upcoming holidays
Mhm.
It does.
How about
Easter.
Christmas?
and November.
Yeah, and
I have a
Thanksgiving.
conflict in October and November, the third Thursday. But going for it, that's something that in January I can rearrange.
Starting in.
I mean, we still have to deal with.
We still have to deal with October, November.
Really the rest of the year.
The rest of the year.
Yeah.
December would be canceled if you chose to do that.
December is going to be what day?
26.
Yeah.
I think,
Oh, thank you.
December's the 26th. That's the fourth Thursday. The fourth Thursday in November is the 28th, and that's Thanksgiving. And then the parade is the 24th in October,
So
so
I-
every month.
I have written down that we're meeting on November 14th. It is my writing that I copied from somewhere, so it's.
It's a Thursday.
It's the second Thursday in November.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He has it
I
planned.
was gonna say, I don't know where that date came from, but that's what I have written down for some reason.
I have it written down as well, just from off of our calendar on the website, that it's on the 14th. And I actually have that in December, it's on the 23rd.
I have the 23rd for December as well.
Oh, well, the 23rd. Oh.
Which is maybe even worse. They said Francie, but I assumed that one would get canceled.
It's fine.
Okay, whatever.
I don't know what was discussed for it.
Well, we have a conflict for October, the fourth Thursday in the parade, so we need to change it. Somebody wants to recommend the third Thursday or another date, just.
We should do the day before that one time.
The Wednesday, the 23rd.
I can't do that. I'm just gonna be here.
I'm just making a suggestion.
You think, but
I plan well out.
Tony is not available on Wednesdays.
Could we do Monday, the 21st
For what?
for planning commission?
October?
Of October, yes.
You don't want to see me on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Upset.
That's the Louisa County supervisor meeting.
Okay.
Get rid of the October one way or the other. Is that?
October 17th. Which is a Thursday.
I have a prior
You
commitment,
have a.
Yeah.
but I mean, you guys can meet without me about that.
We have missed you also.
I get quite busy that time of year. I like to have a lot of fun.
Between Colorado and Pacific Coast Highway, I can't keep up.
Okay, let's meet, we gotta change to the 24th.
Yeah, we could deal with November. Well, I actually think November 14th sounds pretty good. That's already what's on the calendar, so, and we could deal with December later. That's not tonight's problem.
No, you might can't.
Are we required to, what are our meeting requirements? Is there business that will need to be handled for October?
You can always move it around.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't have any business in October.
Going through,
we don't need to meet if we don't have anything to meet for. We've just been creating work that needed to be done.
Because we've been going through, right? Well, I mean, I don't think it's creating work. I think it's very worthwhile use of our time. But if there's nothing pressing,
I don't have anything. I mean, other than more zoning stuff,
Yeah,
ordinance stuff.
I would
right,
tell you
more
that
of,
unless there was a dire emergency, I wouldn't want to be having a meeting in December anywhere near the Christmas timeframe. Most places cancel their December meeting unless there is a dire, an application that is required or something.
so why don't we go with the October, knowing that you wouldn't be
that's
there?
fine. Well,
And you can slide through some more of this. And then move the November to the 14th.
I think it's already there. I don't think it needs to be moved.
And then
and to cancel December probably, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be here.
getting October taken care of, then we can.
Yeah, and then January, we can move to third Thursday. if
We
that's
will be
better.
meeting at the January
Okay.
meeting.
I was gonna say that will be-
Wants to do.
Do we want to vote to go ahead and do we, like I'm part of this? Do you all want to vote to do the third Thursday in January? Do that vote tonight so that you would just start your meeting on the third Thursday in January?
Something comes up, you call and We'll be there.
Right, we can call a meeting if it's necessary, he needs to do that, but you want to have a regular schedule. You do want to have a regular schedule.
Agreed.
So you can work around it as much as possible.
14th.
So you can, yeah, no, so is it October 17th?
October 17th, I think is what we landed on.
November 14th, no meeting in December. And if you all wish to, you can vote to move your meetings to the third Thursday, and that would start January
What date would that be?
the 16th.
So you want the motion now?
Yeah,
I move that the commission move the meetings for the next couple of months to October 17th, November 14th, January 16th, and that we plan on canceling the December meeting.
I second that.
okay, got a motion by Mr. Snyder and a second by Ms. Ball to adjust the October, November, December, and January meetings to the dates that Mr. Snyder indicated. Any question about what they are? No. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Very good, taken care of. Now, the planning commission resignation is Amy. And she wrote me last week that I'm sorry to say that I think I'm going to resign from my position on the planning committee. I think it just started too soon after losing Tony, that's her husband. I still have quite a few things I need to work through and figure out and get back on my feet again. That was her statement to me. I wrote her back, and this is what I said. I just read your email. I'm so sorry to hear of your desire to leave the planning commission, but I certainly understand. And I'm not going to regret it, but I offered her a day to think about it. Call me, let me talk to you if you want to. And if I don't hear from you, within 24 hours, then I'll go ahead and pass it on your resignation. That's what we're doing. So what I would entertain is a motion to accept her resignation with regrets. And that we in turn also pass along to the town council that we have a vacancy in the planning commission, and we would like for it to be advertised for others to know about it, and then for them to select someone at their earliest convenience to fill that position. Motion from Jim to do that. Second from Mr. Williams. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? So done. I also told her we would look forward to that at sometime in the future. Let us know, and hopefully you'll consider again at some point down the road. Reports. Zoning administrator, do you have anything for us?
No, we just have lots of development that's happening, and that takes a toll on our connection fees that we get, but then it's also an expense. So we're just working on all that stuff. I did I'm still dealing with the gas pump application for Miller's Market. And I've passed that to VDOT. VDOT has responded with some a first review, and the review is things that need to be addressed on the site plan. Which they knew, but it was better for VDOT to go over and dictate everything that they need. So with that being said, hopefully they're passing it along to their engineer, and then it'll go back to VDOT, and it's a long process when you have gas pumps coming in.
I asked, I don't need all the specifics, but are they addressing the traffic flow and the issues?
Yeah, they're addressing traffic flow, turn lanes, site, wanting to understand the loading and unloading situation, because there again is no rear loading or side loading. So everything's done in the front. So there's that whole, VDOT's questioning how this is going to work. And they require like so many hundreds of feet for things, so.
We're trying to get into. It's interesting there.
Just shows the benefit of having single reviews and including the different agencies that should have input into the rulemaking and the decision making.
Yeah, there's code enforcement stuff that the zoning administrator has to do. So that's happening. It's not just development. It is taking the codes that we have and enforcing them where they're supposed to be. And a lot of it is complaint driven. Some of it is safety issues. So if the zoning administrator sees a safety issue, they have to address it. That's what you have to do. So that's happening around town.
Can you give any comment as to what's happening or stage the PUD that came before?
Right now, I have no updates. I mean, the letter went out and the conversation is that, at this time, and even with Virginia Rural Water Association, who we are members of, that help us with our water infrastructure and our repairs and listening for leaks and helping us figure out what to do. That right now, as it is, unless we get some hefty grant money or a developer wants to help repair, develop, and replace infrastructure, that right now the PUD is at a standstill until we can come up with a better plan. That being said, the letter and the application that I got was, I went ahead and sent that to and talked with Louisa County Water Authority to get feedback on what that looks like for the town. And there's a lot of upgrades that have to happen coming down 22, even into Mineral from Louisa to be able to do that. So.
Cool. All right, is that all?
Yeah, that's all.
All right, commissioner comments? Again, new on the agenda, it's done in other places. Any of you got anything you want to bring up? Now it's time to do it.
I was just curious about Tommytown. That's a buzz going around town, wondering what kind of development is that?
You mean with the sign down the street at the.
Oh, there's a sign.
There's a sign.
Oh, yeah.
There's a sign and it's called Tommytown, but that I think was there just to, poke fun. But that land's for sale. Obviously it was logged, and usually when you log your property, you're prepping it for a potential buyer. That's all. I'm sure there's going to be a development. What that is, I don't know. That's why it's so important for just to stay focused and be aware of what's happening.
I would say though, that sign has this realtor's name on it, how to contact them, and the realtor's own sign right next to it and all that. So not really a joke. That's, and it is on the market. So.
Yeah.
I was curious too, like what are the requirements that are being given to the development or the natural buffer around the mess down there? Because I heard that there were some modifications as to like kind of prettying up, like which I was really thrilled with.
Where?
Yeah, the 14. So there were, I guess I can talk about it. It's all squared away. There were some things that we came to an agreement of, and there's a fence, some pavements going in. There, I believe are trees going to be planted, and the town is putting no parking signs at these entrances where the alleys are, so that the houses, and not that they would mean to do this, but that they would park and encroach on town property. So that's, and a road maintenance agreement will go in place.
It also looks like the electrical boxes are going to be blocking access to the easement from those. Just based on where it looked like to me.
For the town?
No. Like, if you were utilizing.
Oh, if you were the homeowner and you were utilizing, okay, all right, makes sense.
Thank you.
There have been some interesting conversations that have happened at the Mineral Farmers Market about one, the cost of the housing. Two, that when it had already been sold, but it was subsidized, and there were just those little comments, those snarky little comments that people were not happy.
I have no information, and I don't think that anything's been sold down there because they don't have a occupation.
Yeah, CO, yeah.
Yeah, they don't have an occupancy. Thank you, I'm tired. Thank you, a CO, yes. I have to sign off on those and they have not come through my office.
The other thing is, boy, I had fun tonight. I'm glad to be working with you all.
Glad to have you.
All right, is that it for the night?
And do I get to keep this book? Does it stay here so you can update?
Stays here.
It stays here, so I can update it. You can take your stuff if you want.
Entertain a motion to adjourn. All against the motion, they give it back. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Fancy 5-0.
Oh, my.